In this video, I'm going to go through the identification and the spelling or writing of some intervals above given pitches. Let's begin with the identification of some intervals. Now you'll notice that on this line, some of the intervals are in the treble clef, some are in the bass clef. Okay. You'll also notice that some of the intervals are presented as harmonic intervals, played together at the same time, whereas some of them are presented as melodic intervals. Here's a melodic ascending interval. Here's a melodic descending interval. And then a couple more ascending melodic. All right, so the first thing when identifying intervals is to find the number. Here we have an E to a D. So remember, just count letter names from E to D. Don't forget to count E as 1 and also D in your count. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D. That is a seventh. So again, count from E to D. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. 7 letter names. Okay, then we're going to think of the major scale represented by the bottom note. In this case, you're thinking about E major. Now in E major, there's an F, a C, a G, and D sharps. So you know for a fact that E to D sharp is a major 7, because in the scale of E major, there's a D sharp. And remember, all the notes above the tonic are major and perfect in a major scale. So you know for a fact that E to D sharp is a major 7. What about E to D natural? Well, E to D natural is smaller than E to D sharp, so this is a minor 7th. You might find it helpful to jot down or just review the chart. So remember, for perfect intervals, which includes the unison, the fourth, and the fifth, and the octave, if a perfect interval becomes larger by a half step, it goes to augmented. And if a perfect interval becomes smaller by a half step, it goes to diminished. And then for the major and minor intervals, which includes seconds, thirds, sixes, and sevens, if a major interval becomes larger by a half step, it goes to augmented. If a major interval becomes smaller by a half step, which we just looked at, it goes to minor. Then if it becomes smaller by another half step, it goes to diminished. So remember, this particular interval chart has two steps to get to diminished. So major becomes smaller by a half step, it goes to minor. And then if minor becomes smaller by a half step, it goes to diminished. So keep those charts in mind as you're working with intervals. Next one is a B flat to an E flat. So first of all, count the interval number. So B, C, D, E is a fourth. Now to get the quality, think about the major scale associated with the lower note. So I'm thinking B flat major. Well, you know that B flat major has a B flat and an E flat in it. Now notice the E flat is in the interval, so B flat to E flat is a perfect fourth. And you know that because E flat is contained within the scale of B flat. B flat to E natural would be an augmented fourth, but B flat to E flat is a perfect fourth. Okay, this is bass clef, D up to G sharp. Again, begin by counting your numbers. So D, E, F, G, some kind of fourth. We're thinking of the major scale of D major. D major has an F sharp and a C sharp only. There is no G sharp. So you know that D to G is perfect because G natural is in the scale of D major. D to G sharp, augmented. Now when you're writing augmented, you could use a capital A or you can use the plus. So either one of these are okay. For diminished, you can use the little circle or you can use the little d. Still bass clef. This is a B to a G. Count the number. B, C, D, E, F, G. That is a sixth. Okay, here we're thinking of the major scale of B major. B major has 5 sharps: F, C, G, D, and A. So you know for a fact that B to G sharp is a major sixth because you do expect a G sharp in the scale of B. If B to G sharp is major, B to G natural, minor. All right, let's take a look at the last 3 intervals now. The next one is still in the bass clef. And we have a B flat going down to an E flat. Now remember, in this case, you want to measure from the bottom pitch up to the higher one. So we're actually going to measure from E flat up to B flat. This is a descending melodic interval, but you still measure it from the lower pitch to the upper one. So we're really thinking E flat up to B flat. Well, let's count the number. E, F, G, A, B. That is a fifth. So any E to any B is going to be a 5. Now let's think of the major scale associated with E flat major. E flat major has a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat in the scale. So in the scale of E flat, there is a B flat. That makes it perfect. Remember, all the notes above the tonic form major and perfect intervals in a major scale. So for example, in E flat major, E flat to F would be a major second. E flat to G would be a major third. E flat to A flat would be a perfect fourth because there is an A flat in the scale. E flat to B flat's a perfect fifth. E flat to C, major sixth. E flat to D, major 7. And then E flat up to E flat would be a perfect octave. Okay, now we're back in the treble clef. F sharp up to D. All right, count the interval number first. F, G, A, B, C, D is a sixth. Now think of the scale of F sharp major. F sharp major has F, C, G, D, A, and E sharps. It actually has 6 sharps, all sharps except for B. There would be a D sharp in the scale of F sharp major. So you know F sharp to D sharp is major. F sharp to D natural, minor. All right, and the last one here, we have an A flat to a B. We know that's some kind of second. Any A to any B is a second. It's spelled like a second. Think of the scale of A flat major, which has a B, E, A, and D flats. So you know that in A flat major, A flat to B flat is a major second. A flat to B natural, augmented. And again, for augmented, you can use the plus or the capital A. Now, if you're counting half steps between A flat and B, you would actually count 3 half steps. A flat to A is 1, to the B flat key on the keyboard is 2, and to the B key is 3 half steps. But notice it's not a minor third because it's spelled like a second. So this is an augmented second. A minor third would be C flat, A flat to C flat. Notice that A flat to C flat, which is a minor third, and A flat to B natural, which is an augmented second, are enharmonic intervals. They sound the same, but they're spelled differently. Now we're going to write some intervals above given pitches. The first 3 are in the treble clef, and the last 4 are in the bass clef. The first thing you want to do is write the general note above that forms the number, that forms that interval number. So for the first one here, we're looking at a fifth above a C. Count 5 above C. C, D, E, F, G. Don't forget to count C as 1. C, D, E, F, G. So some kind of C to some kind of G is going to be a fifth. Now don't change the pitch given. We can only change the note above. If we're looking at C major, the major scale associated with the lower note, We know that C to G is perfect because there's a G in the scale of C major. How do you make it smaller? Right, we want to go one half step smaller. So perfect to diminished, we want to make it into a G flat. So perfect becomes diminished if the top note is flatted or lowered by a half step. So C to G perfect, C to G flat, diminished. Next one's a minor third, and we're given an F. What's the third above F? F, G, A. Some kind of A. All right, if you're thinking the scale of F major, you know that in F major there's only a B flat, so F to A is major. F to A flat would be minor. So again, we need to make that smaller by a half step. F to A flat. There are 3 half steps in a minor third. Let's count them. F to F sharp is 1, to G is 2, and to A flat would be 3. Okay, major sixth above D flat. So first thing, count a sixth above D. D, E, F, G, A, B. Some kind of B. Okay, I'm thinking the scale of D flat to major, which has a B, E, A, D, and G flats. So if I want to write a major sixth above B flat, I do want to use the B flat because I know the B flat is in the scale of D flat major. All right, moving on to bass clef here. This is a C sharp. We want to write a seventh above. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, some sort of B. In the scale of C sharp major, everything is sharped. So because of that, you know that C sharp to B sharp would be a major 7. Because B sharp's in the scale of C sharp major. Therefore, C sharp to B natural is minor, and then C sharp to B flat is diminished. So in this case, we have to mark a flat. So again, using the chart here, C sharp to B sharp major, C sharp to B natural is minor, C sharp to B flat would be diminished. Perfect fifth, and this is a G flat. So again, count 5 above G. G, A, B, C, D, some kind of D. You're thinking the major scale of G flat major, which has B, E, A, D, G, and C flats. In the scale of G flat major, there would be a D flat. So to make it a perfect fifth, you have to make it a D flat, G flat to D flat. Okay, D given, major third above. Begin by counting the letter names. So D, E, F. Third above D is going to be some kind of F. For this one, I'm going to count half steps. You might remember that a major third has 4 half steps. All right, D to the E flat key is 1, to E is 2, to F is 3, and to F sharp would be 4 half steps. Remember, don't count a half step until you've actually moved to another pitch. So again, it would be D to the D sharp or E flat key, to the E key would be 2, to the F key would be 3, and to the F sharp key would be 4 half steps. Notice it has to be spelled like an F because D to F is a third. D to G would be a fourth. So it can't be D to G flat. You could also think the major scale associated with D major. And you know that in D major, there's an F sharp and a C sharp. So D to F sharp is major. Okay, last one, a minor sixth above A flat. We're in the bass clef still. So think a sixth above A, B, C, D, E, F. It's going to be some kind of F. Imagine the scale of A flat major. A flat major would look like this. right? B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. So here's the A flat major scale. You know that A flat to F is major because the F's in the scale. If I want to make it minor, I'll have to flat the top note. So it'll be A flat to F flat.